Space takes him into 0.
With a real boxer, a real world champion boxer, that the only other time he was in for the fans to get mad with that was against Fury's, Tommy Fury, but it wasn't that level, obviously, and all the size things you just rightfully pointed out. But he would have been in there with, you know, I mean, it seemed crazy.
Renowned for his explosive power and compact frame, Davis has taken his training to a whole new level, packing on serious muscle that has the boxing world buzzing. Recent footage from the gym reveals a noticeably bulkier and more imposing version of Tank, sparking speculation that he's gearing up to match Paul's size and physicality head-on.
You were yelling so much about him fighting someone, fight somebody your size. His next opponent is, by far, the most credentialed guy ever fought actively in his prime. There's one problem. He fights at 135 pounds. He fights at 135.
He's blending high-intensity strength work, brutal sparring, and relentless conditioning to support a noticeable gain in size and muscle mass. Reports and footage suggest he's focused heavily on resistance training, especially compound lifts to build core and upper body strength, all while maintaining his signature speed and footwork to preserve agility. Sparring sessions have reportedly included larger, more physically imposing partners, some even resembling heavyweights, to help Davis adjust to the size and strength of a much bigger opponent.
Yeah, this Santa Cruz right here, you can't let it burn, baby, let it burn. Mind over matter, son, mind over matter.
This is the blues on.
Ain't nobody doing no shit like this. Come in the desert. Nigga trying to stay away from the desert, he come in the desert.
When the night is
Camera.
cold and low.
Oh, see.
Light, camera, action.
Light, action, camera.
Come on, Ted. Come on, Ted. Worm out. Worm out, Ted. Dig down in there. Dig down in there. 10 seconds. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Remember that gun on it? They got that gun on that tank. They go, ah!
When the night is cold and low.
He ain't gonna keep you here late tonight. Good job.
It's been hard being away from my daughter. You know, she actually here, she sleep. Just being away from her, it was a little touchy, but I know what I'm up, you know, up against. You know, I know that I got pay-per-view. You know, I know I'm fighting a tough opponent, so really I know how to lock in. I know how to shy away from everything. I know how to, like, I know how to fool around.
I said 10
Nah, don't do that. I can't go on TV looking like that.
Both fighters will compete at a 195-pound limit and wear 12-ounce gloves, conditions that heavily favor the larger Paul. Davis, who typically competes at around 135 pounds, is being asked to overcome a massive size and strength gap. That disparity has raised serious concerns among analysts and fans alike. Critics warn that adding too much bulk could dull Davis's trademark speed and explosiveness, the very qualities that have made him such a formidable force in the ring.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis fight got moved to Miami.
I think Jake wins.
Jake's just so big, dude.
I think Jake wins.
This is different because it's similar. It's similar to Logan versus Mayweather, but Jake Paul
boxing.
Now obviously is way more advanced than where Logan was at that moment in time.
I mean,
Gervonta
it's
is
just
fucking sick.
I mean, yeah, no, but dude,
Did you
Jake,
ever watch his highlights?
Jake can
He's
crack,
nasty,
man.
bro.
He's so sick.
He's
I love
nasty.
that guy, bro.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skill, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
He downplayed the excitement surrounding the matchup, suggesting that few people are genuinely hyped for it. Still, White acknowledged that the fight could offer some strategic benefits for Davis. After enduring a string of negative headlines and a dip in career momentum outside the ring, Davis finds himself at a vulnerable point. In White's view, Paul's lucrative offer comes at a critical time, presenting Tank with a chance to regain the spotlight and secure a major payday. White also addressed the physical mismatch. He believes Paul's natural size, reach, and raw strength would allow him to relentlessly pressure Davis, leaning in, clinching, and using his frame to smother Tank's offense. While he credits Davis as a technically gifted and powerful boxer, White questions whether those attributes can carry over when facing a much larger opponent. In the end, he frames the fight less as a pure boxing contest and more as a test of Davis's ability to withstand and overcome Paul's physical dominance.
Picking Jake Paul to beat Gervonta Davis. This is not a fight that I'm excited for at all. I would rather have Gervonta Davis fighting in a real boxing match against the likes of Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Emmanuel Navarrete, anybody that is in the 135-pound division and around. That's where I want to see Gervonta Davis fight. However, we live in a world where everybody is trying to do things as big as possible. And the biggest fights possible right now, unfortunately for the sport of boxing, is an exhibition fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. So I do like it for this reason, though. I like it because it is allowing Gervonta Davis to have a fight that is going to be big and that the mainstream media is going to have to cover, the mainstream media outside the world of boxing. Gervonta Davis has been, without a doubt, blocked, having venues blocked, having fighters, having other promoters paying fighters away to go different directions from Gervonta Davis. So Gervonta Davis was in a bit of a hole. And he gets an opportunity to fight Jake Paul for $200 million or whatever. I don't mind it at all. As long as Gervonta Davis comes back to the world of boxing after he gets done with this, hey man, you got your money, no worries. But you gotta love Dana White having the audacity to pick Jake Paul in this fight and says something to the effect that, hey, he was talking to Logan Paul and said, hey, when you were fighting Floyd, you know, there was this, you're a gigantic guy, big size difference. There was a time when Floyd Mayweather Jr. had an overhand right that landed flush on Jake Paul, on Logan.
Perry slammed Davis for taking what he called a cash grab, instead of pursuing legitimate boxing challenges, questioning whether Tank still possesses the same fire and hunger that made him a world champion. According to Perry, Davis opting to face a YouTuber-turned-boxer signals that he's more focused on fame and money than on solidifying his legacy in the sport. Perry even went as far as to suggest that Jake Paul's work ethic and drive might currently outmatch Davis's. His blunt remarks struck a nerve with fans and reignited the debate over where Davis's true motivation lies.
Jake is big,
Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Observers noted his tense body language, limited eye contact, and somewhat forced composure, suggesting the significant size difference may have unsettled him. Standing across from the much larger Paul, Davis seemed to fully grasp the physical challenge looming ahead. While some fans interpreted his demeanor as calm focus, others saw it as a subtle sign of doubt.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-off this Tank done. He gets in their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis. And the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant to be an insult. It is meant to take away from a potentially glorious moment for Jake. But where the compliment comes is it means the public believes he's gonna win. That's what it means.
Atlas joked that Tank is so much smaller than Paul, he'd need a ladder just to reach his chin. While he acknowledged that skill and style mismatches are common in boxing, he argued that the physical gap here goes far beyond what's reasonable. Comparing the situation to the possibility of Canelo Alvarez moving up to fight Terence Crawford, Atlas pointed out that Crawford was never as undersized as Davis is against Paul. In his view, Tank's lack of reach and natural size makes the matchup look severely unbalanced, more spectacle than sport from the very beginning.
Things, right? They should also have, like, the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but you know, a little different. The size difference was, I mean, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunderlips. He was Thunderlips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky.
The undefeated champion argued that the fight lacks competitive merit and serves more as a money grab than a genuine test of skill. Stevenson emphasized that the extreme size difference between the two fighters turns the event into more of a spectacle than a legitimate boxing contest. As a side note, maybe he'd consider fighting Jake Paul himself instead.